Hi folks, it is I, FloridaMan, once more. Today I present my commentary on the diplomacy game Powder Keg, in which I participated as Russia. It was in fall 1901 that the original Russia surrendered, and not long after that, I took over. So this is what the game looked like when I took over. I begin immediately working a juggernaut alliance with Turkey, which quickly becomes tight. You can see that things are a bit of a mess in the east, and in the west, England is a maniac, going after me, France, and unoccupied Denmark. The following spring, everyone continues fighting over there, and I'm moving to grab some of the German centers too, just like France, abandoning my early stance against Austria. In fall, I succeed in doing that, getting into Berlin. At the same time, I also moved against Turkey, although I didn't commit much against him. Unfortunately, Germany still had 3 centers after losing 2 home centers, so he kept his army from Berlin, retreating to Prussia. In the spring, I defend what I still have of my homeland from the rogue German army, while France cleans up in the west, and he's beginning to grow to quite a worrying size from my perspective. In fall, Italy and I are making progress against Austria and Turkey respectively, but unfortunately we're not really in position to do much together just yet. Happily for me, it looks like I have plenty of time to figure that out though. England is fighting against France in spirited fashion, so it's slowing the French down considerably. Spring 1904. I want to give England a hug, because England is actually in Brest now. Oh my goodness, France has such an annoying opponent, this is hilarious. At the same time, I'm moving to retake St. Petersburg, which is wonderful in its own right. Unfortunately, at the same time, Germany is kicking me out of Berlin, and Turkey is in the Black Sea. On the bright side, as we see in fall, I've made an accommodation with Germany. I support him into Munich, allowing me to keep Berlin for the season, and I tell him that's all I need it for. And I mean it. I'm refocusing on the south at this point, so I don't expect to hold Berlin. But it's cool to have the extra unit for a little longer. Since I retake St. Pete as well, I don't go down a unit even though I lose Bulgaria. In spring, Germany has finally reconstituted the German homeland, but unfortunately for him, it's just in time for France, who is now ready to fight both England and Germany at the same time, to come in and start attacking him. I respect the French guts at least. In the south, I'm working with Italy and I'm still fighting Turkey in theory, but actually I've been talking with Turkey, and as we see in the immediately following season, I stab Italy and support Turkey into Serbia, and we are now executing a belated but powerful juggernaut. Spring 1906, we're essentially breaking the Italian power, and I'm already reallocating units toward making advances in Scandinavia because I need to start gaining some ground up there before my Berlin Wall crumbles. England and France are still fighting, which seems crazy to me, but France is slowly inexorably winning. In the fall, you see I sacrifice a potential build that I could have gained from Sweden in order to support Germany against France, because France, it's becoming clearer and clearer, is the real enemy for me. Spring 1907, you see I kind of give up on propping Germany up, and Germany basically collapses, while I do get Sweden. But unfortunately, France is moving against my lone unit in St. Pete. And in the west, you see France has stopped attacking England, and so they've made an agreement to work together, while in the south you see Turkey and I are still killing Italy, and France is already shifting units into the Mediterranean. So this is not looking as good as I would like it to. In fall, France actually takes St. Pete, but I again help Germany retake Kiel from France, and Turkey and I are looking great in the south. Spring 1908, we get Turkey into the Italian homeland, and we're preparing to put our forces up against France. Germany continues to work with us, though he won't be much use for much longer. In fall, not much happens. England and France aren't moving in a way hostile to each other anymore because the juggernaut is the obvious threat, so a lot of stuff is just bouncing. Spring 1909, Turkey and I are moving with pretty perfect unity, having demilitarized all of the Balkans, and the Entente is locked in combat with the juggernaut all up and down the map. In fall, Germany finally gets taken out, but Turkey also gets me into Rome and we get him into Naples, and frankly, I could keep talking about this game for quite a while. I could go on and on about the course of this game, because the game goes on and on pretty much forever. Diplomatically, Turkey and I are trying to break up the Entente, and they're trying to break up the Juggernaut, but it keeps not happening, and the fight keeps going back and forth, and no one is striking a decisive blow, and no one is breaking under the continued pressure. Ultimately, we lock the enemy down in the Mediterranean, but it takes much longer before we lock things down in the north. In the end, though, the game is deadlocked. We are all forced to agree to a draw because no one can break anyone else's position, and no one can persuade anyone else to stab in this situation where it would probably be very dangerous to do so. Looking over the game even now, I think the Juggernaut's position was pretty unbreakable, and since we were the ones on the defensive by this point, that was what mattered. So it's not entirely satisfying, but we do end up with a 4-power draw. I hope you enjoyed this after-action report. I know it was a little bit different from my usual, in that most of my games end more triumphantly than this, without the complexity of a locked-up position and a 4-power draw. But this was a different one, and I found it interesting for that reason. I'd be interested in your thoughts on what I maybe should have done differently, and what else you might like to see from me in terms of future after-action reports. If you liked this, please like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you can to help boost the channel. And until next time, FloridaMan out.